Hey everyone, you'll be wondering what's all this mess on the table. Today, I'm going to turn this little hot air balloon into a nightlight, a lamp, whatever you have you. So, basically, bought a stand, raw wood, dremeled it, made a hole, got a pack of LEDs. They're going to be give or take 2 amps, 9 volts, whatever you be. Find a transformer for it. The wonderful thing about these transformers, now where can I find that part? Because it's... oh, there you go. The wonderful thing about these transformers is they come with this little attachment. You can see there's 2 little slots with 2 little screws that tightens over a wire. So basically all you need to do, depending on the size of what you're making, you don't have to solder, you don't have to strip, you don't have to do much. You can just get one of these LEDs, and if it's close enough to what you're doing, you can just cut it, strip it, oops, don't need that anymore, right? And just attach it directly to here. That connects to power supply, and there you have it. You have a light. You don't have to do too much to it. So, with that said, plan is base. Got brass tubing for the cheap. Got a bender, bent it to shape. Run the wire through. Pop the hot air balloon, the LED lights, slam it right on there, and then just put it all together. So let's get started. First line of business is, let's get the LEDs going. So I have 5 of them in a row. They're gonna fill in the entire space of the hot air balloon. So I've already stripped them and cut them to size and length. So I'm gonna get that going right now. So if you guys make anything that you want lit up or anything like that, besides LEDs, you also have LED strips. What else was there? Fiber optics. Some of these, depending on what you're doing, you can make a flat board, use the fiber optics, glue them into little holes you drill, and you can make a starry night in the back. You can light up a lot of things, whatever you get creative on. So this is just a starting point, a reference point. So if you're ever curious or interested in doing things like this, just know that it's not that difficult. It just takes a little time, a few tools. So, with all things, when you're making, cooking, creating, making, don't be afraid of failing. That's where you learn a lot of your errors, issues, what's working, what's not. So if whenever you do anything else in the future, you won't be as scared or as uncomfortable as in dealing with it then. If you try to jump into a large project without touching anything beforehand, you're going to get yourself in a bind because there's going to be issues that you've never dealt with popping up. So what I've just done is I have all of these adjusted according to length. Right there. Have them, as you can see, daisy chained. I found out one LED when I tested it wasn't bright enough, so I'm going to do 5, stagger them so it'll light up a nice entire height of a hot air balloon. And here I am just connecting all the negatives and the positives, basically same color with same color. And I'm going to get this ready for solder. And as you can see, the tube that I got, it's hollow inside. There you go. I'm just gonna run wire that I bought. So keeping the black with the black and the red with the white, so at least I know what's going on. Let's get some excess. Real simple, just run it through. Now, for those that don't know, I've made several of these hot air balloons. And since my girls are pretty young, they like to crush everything. So I've tried everything to reinforce them. I've tried Mod Podge, I tried resin, and believe you me, it gets into a mess. This thing has one layer of Mod Podge, and that took quite a bit. Now, I tried resin before. It just ate right through the paper and got it all kinds of chunky. It made a mess. So yeah, not fun. Now, whenever you're doing anything with the electronics, let's get this part done. Ran the wire through, I have excess left, right, who cares? There. What you want to do is, as you can see, it's still moving up and down, left and right through this. Just tie the wire into a knot. If you get it thick enough, I'm going to leave a little extra for me to play with. You can always strip it later and cut it. You can see it prevents that wire from, once you do that knot, prevents it from going through. You don't need to do it really tight, just enough so it prevents it from going anywhere. And this will prevent it from getting pulled out or pulling it off the plug, the LEDs, what have you not. So you can do the same thing on the other end, which I will be doing right now. Same thing on the other side. I was gonna do this video last week, but go figure, I bought the wire and it was too thick and it was not going through the brass tubing, so I had to wait till this got delivered. If you're wondering what kind of wire, what size, just know the higher the number, the thinner the wire. And if you want to go into more details, depending on how much power, how many amps, how much you're going through, you need thicker wire. You get something too thin for too much power, it'll heat up really bad. But as you can see, I'm not powering anything crazy. There we are. Length test. You can also cram them in there, so that's not a big deal, it'll fit. I do have wire strippers and wire cutters and everything else, but since this is nothing too fancy, the shielding is pretty thin, and you guys are watching at home, I'm just going to use scissors. So really gently, I'm not cutting into anything, I'm just rolling the wire into the scissors. It's going to do a slight cut, and then I'm using my nails, gently pinch and pull, and I'll remove the shielding. Give it a few twists so the wire doesn't fray everywhere. As you can see, look, I can do whatever I want. The wire's nice and stable, it's not going anywhere. So, point them outward, outward, and twist it all together. Now at this point, depending on what you have at home, I have a soldering iron on the ready right here. Let me go heat it up since I'm talking about it. Should be good. I'm not doing anything too crazy. But you can also just twist these really well, wrap them with electric tape and just snip it off. That'll be enough for these to work. But just for you to know, that also leads to the chance of it getting pulled off, bad connections, and what have nots. Solder just tends to make the electrical connection really strong, and it keeps it from coming off and going everywhere else and what have not. So. Well, my iron is heating up. Huh, purple, huh? Usually it's black, but who cares? I've never seen purple electric tape, but here it is. Get that thing ready. Get that ready. So for the base, it came like this. I drew the size of the plug with the screw side down. Dremeled it out, drilled a little bit extra on the front so the wire can have some space, and a little hole right there for where the brass tubing is going to go through. So let me see. So while the iron is going, it always helps to test. So I'm just going to do a little bit while I'm waiting for the iron to heat up. test to make sure this all lights up happy. So there are my lights. Got this thing plugged in. Oops, wrong end. It's trash. It's trash. There we go. That all lights up happy. I'm planning to turn this thing into a night light, so you don't really have to go too crazy with the brightness. If you want something really bright, you can always look online, find some bulbs, some flashlight bulbs, lamp connectors. You can make this as crazy as you want it. Just be aware you're going to need some stronger plugs and some stronger, thicker wires and a larger brass tube. So I have the lights here. Let's make them all behave so they don't go all over the place while I'm working on them. Gonna get some electrical tape. This is pretty nice stuff. There we go. Done, done. Let's move this guy over here. This guy over here. Clear it all out. For those that never soldered before, like you watching this video, there's a whole bunch of them on YouTube to teach you how to properly solder and whatnot. There we go. Since I don't know what I'll be making in the future, I just spent a few more bucks and got this soldering station for 40 bucks. You can get a regular iron for like 10, 15, but if you're gonna be doing it in the future with God knows what, I got something with a adjustable temperature and holds everything in one go. So give that a second to cool. Got it all soldered up. Get your electrical tape. On the ready. But as always, since it's not that difficult here, give it a test again. Make sure everything's happy, everything's good to go. Like cooking, taste, test, not different. The last thing you want to do is when everything's all put together and then you find out nothing's working. There you go. That's good. Wrap up your connections. Don't mind if the tape or the wires or everything else are not, or a little extra long or a little short here or there. You're gonna cut it and snip it to size right after. That done, give it a snip. Give it a trim. And one last taping. You can see there's still a little bit of exposed wire. This is the reason why you do this one last taping. You don't need much. Fold them down, tape them up. Since this is going into the balloon, it doesn't have to be too pretty, but there you go. That's pretty much done. Cram it in there. Testing time again. Like I said, I'm just planning to use this as a night light, so it doesn't need to be too crazy bright. As long as there's something in there, I'm good. Okay. And especially when you're making things without a plan, a general idea, there will be a lot of small things you can modify, fix, or alleviate as these issues come up. That should do it. There's that. Get the base, put the wires through. I'm gonna leave the wire just a little bit above the hole, so the wires can have enough room to bend over and attach to the power supply. Adjustments, adjustments, adjustments. So once you figure it out, give or take where you want to put the... What I'm adjusting is the balloon still poking out forward here and there. So, just seeing, there you are. Once that's happy, I'm gonna super glue this sucker down, so it stops that from twisting and going all over the place. Other things you can do is also use UV resin, epoxy. There's a whole bunch of other things you can use to make sure this thing stays put. So this is going to get fast forwarded while I hold this to dry. Hot glue gun works as well. I'm going to try everything. This thing's called Bondic. It's a UV resin. Something's going to work. There we go. It would help to make sure that stick was centered. So there's a lot of things you can do with this general idea. Using these hollow brass tubes, you can make a mobile with a whole bunch of origami cranes. You can make clouds, you can make whatever you want. You can run wires through everything and just plug it in. You can also get these 3 AA battery packs that will run about the same amount of power that'll run these LED lights. And you can have it mobile anywhere. I prefer not to deal with batteries because they start getting annoying after a while. So that's why I'm using this AC transformer adapter. So in that same sense, you can start making geometric origami shapes with different types of light paper, cellophane, saran wrap. You can put Christmas lights in them. You can do a lot of things with it. But the most important thing is start playing with it. Don't be scared with the electricity, the power, and everything else. There's a reason why when you buy lights and everything else, there's a whole bunch of numbers behind it. Those numbers just tell you how much power and how much aperture you need in there. If you put something with too many amps into something that, say you get something that's like a LED that runs only 1 amp, and you get something like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 amps, it'll blow it up. So That's the reason why they have all of that fun stuff next to it. That's holding well enough. Gonna trim these wires to size. Strip, attach, and glue. Something told me I should have done this the other way around. Before gluing that on, I should have adjusted the size and then stripped it. Oh well. Quick test. Side switch. The reason why I'm folding them over is when you screw down on them with that plug, there's more meat to bite on. Double check the plug. There you are, that's right. And I'll do the final adjustments of the LEDs and the balloon after I get this thing sorted out. Nope. I could use double-sided tape, but since I don't have any up here right now, I'm just going to use some super glue and just do the quick and ghetto. Hot glue gun, like I said, anything that'll stick, it'll work. And while that's drying, give it a quick test. There we go. The lighting around here. Not impressive, but like I said, trial, error, figure out what you can fix, what you can't, and work from there. So, as always, questions, comments, anything, let me know. Thank you for watching.